So let's see. Malume Kuto, I tried to put you in yesterday, and then you were here and gone again.
Serious?
Yeah.
I didn't see that. Network was doing its things, I guess.
How are you doing, my brother?
I'm well, and how are you?
I'm good. Firstly, what were your thoughts about the top 10s yesterday?
It was interesting. You know, you advanced some questions, which I feel are important,
Okay.
especially with regards to the tricky situation in Rulani.
Yeah.
But more what reasons. I feel he's no different. He just has a little edge over the current Amazulu coach, who has no
Okay.
track record.
Okay.
No track record, as well as Mulifinseki, no track record. That's how different he is from those guys. Yes,
Oh.
we've seen some flashes of what he can possibly do, but as I was saying yesterday, that when you look at how much he is trying to change, you can definitely tell we can't credit him for the past wins because he wasn't involved. Just based on the fact that he's trying to change a lot, so we can see this guy was not in charge. He definitely was not. It was all Mangoba. And if we read fine text, if we go through it properly, Mangoba has been head coach. There's never been three coaches at Sundowns. It has always been Mangoba and the gang. Because if it says we are all head coaches, unless but if we have an impasse, then Mangoba's word wins. It simply means, what if you have an impasse every day?
Yeah.
Then it's all Mangoba. So if whatever substitution that Rana would make would have to go through Mangoba. If Mangoba, or rather Coach Mangoba, if he had decided to no, I'm not for that, it would never go. I don't think Coach Rulani, and this is not about his ability or anything, but I don't think he has a good enough track record to make number one, actually top five.
Okay.
Because if we also take, and just behind him as well is our coach. He also only has one season. One understand. But it's one great season. That's the issue as well. And it's a full season with 2 cups. So if we're talking this season and people are like, but it's the league. Obviously, you can only win one league.
Yeah.
If it's one season. But you can win 3 cups in one season. By a cup, I'm including the league as well. So let's just say you can take 3 honors in one season. So if out of the 3, I'm taking 2, and we're only basing it on this one trophy that you have, clearly based on that kind of game, based on that criteria, then Jose would be better.
Okay.
One understand.
The thing
So
is,
interesting.
I didn't want to go into the weeds of having the conversation because I don't think we had enough time to unpack Urulani and other coaches, because I think we have this conversation about Urulani, but we don't necessarily have this conversation about everyone, right? And I didn't want to make it unfair to those that, it's Rulani could go on from now and 10 years from now and have stellar seasons for 10 seasons in a row, which we can't deny. The issue comes when we say, now I've got a coach who's got a whole CV where maybe they had one bad season, one really good season, and then 8 bad seasons or 8 average seasons. But because we've got the body of work, you get what I mean? So it's unfair to Rulani to compare him to those guys because he doesn't have the years. And it's unfair to those guys because we've gone through all of your career, and we can, when we're judging you, we're judging you off of that, if that makes sense. But in any case, let's do this one. Today, I wanted to expand it. Maybe this is an old heads chat, but I wanted to expand it and say, today we're speaking about...
Let me get in.
Yeah? No, I'm coming. I'm going to ask you the same question. I'm gonna ask you the same question.
No. But in closing, in terms of the question you asked, there's one statement you made yesterday that played in my head the whole day, and I was like, actually, You know how South African coaches complain about backroom interference? These guys from Scandinavia, from Bochemin, they just come here and they work through
Jobs, man. Job.
So if Floyd is here telling me Uriena, he wants 5 players because allegedly those 5 players are giving 10, it's fine. I will work with those players and I will give you cups using those players. And it got me thinking, man, our coaches are crybabies because some people are coming here and they're winning with the very same environment.
Well, it's not even, I don't even think, for me, the reason why I hold the local coaches under fire a little bit more, and when I spoke about Urulani and I spoke about Atazwane, for example, the expectations of Urulani and Atazwane for me have to be high because, you know, when I know that the stove is over here and the fridge is over there, and I know and spicy when you start cooking, I expect you to know. So when Rulani takes over the head coaching job, right? He's taking over a head coaching job that has been part of that environmental structure for a while. Same with Atazwane, who had been assistant coach plus a player at Kaizer Chiefs, for example. So I'd imagine that you have an idea of everything that's happening. These guys, the reason why I ranked Rivero so highly yesterday was because he didn't have a preseason. He's walking into a high-pressure job. Konabo Floyd, Konabo Prasten, Konabo Banban, everything that everybody's been complaining about all these years. And he won.
He worked through it.
Baxter did it. Kroll did it. The European coaches that have arrived randomly at South African teams have most of the time showed it, right? So I think that's a conversation we must have about our local coaches and Rulani and everybody aside. These guys come in, do the job, leave. Baxter came in, did the job, went to Supersport. Mangban came in, did the job, moved on. Kostarin Papic, Vladimir Vamezovic, Zbanban, all came in, did the job, moved on. And our coaches, when we speak about them, we say, no, they need time, they need this, they need the players, everything must be perfect in order for them to do it. But I digress. I'm going to ask you now, I'm going to leave it open plan because these are guys, the coaches we're speaking about today have histories and careers, and a lot of them, we can look back on them fully. I'm looking for a top 10. So can you tell me who your number 10 best coach of PSL history is in your eyes?
Because PSL is struggling with longevity. So most of them will have 2 seasons. So it would be based on a season I was most impressed by.
Okay.
This coach made me cry for the first time. I was in tears because I'm a minada. And he gave us the name, the Happy People as Orlando Pirates.
Okay.
He would be ranked higher had he won something. And he defeats the myth that no one remembers the losers. I think this is the loser that went down in history. Ask anyone in South African football, old enough, of course. They will tell you about Kostadin Papic. Okay. What he did with those boys. If you played football, even if you were a Chiefs fan, but if you played football, you wished to because at some point his lineup had 19-year-olds and he was challenging for the league from back to front. I think the oldest player would have been maybe one player, I think it was Papi Khuman, and the rest would be teenagers. Some of the players would be missing because they're writing matric exams. Or Lebogang Mokoena was in grade 11. I think the youngsters were Lebogang Mokoena, Gifli Remy, Innocent Mdledle.
Was Jele there? Yeah,
he was there actually. Your Manenjes, or was it Pomozo? It was a team made out of kids, literally. And he would challenge for a league, but ultimately it would tell at the end, which these are actually kids competing against the legendary Shoes Mushwe, which is why we lost the league. So I give it to Kostadin Papic.
Okay, and he also came to Chiefs, and I believe he won the trophy, man. I think he did win.
That's how good. That's how good he was, because even the Chiefs guy, that's why this guy defeated the myth or no one remembers the losers.
Yeah.
Even the Chiefs guys bowed to say, you were unlucky. We saw what you did.
Okay, okay. Agent 007, how are you doing, my brother?
I'm good. It's a good day, man. It's a good day. Good,
Tell
good
me,
day.
were you watching yesterday?
Um,
You were in.
yeah, I watched. I just had a connection problem because
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I was using data and then no data. But now my
Ah,
Wi-Fi is back sorted now, so I'm
okay,
good.
no stress. So the question I'm going to ask you first
Yeah,
is,
but some
listening
of
to
the
the
things.
Rulani convo from
Yeah.
yesterday, I want to focus on that Rulani convo.
Mm.
Rulani as the head coach, right? And this, I think people took it as hating, but it's like, as the head coach with the title, it's been 6 months. Is it okay for Urulani to be sitting with Abu Kevin Hunt, Abu Eric Tinkler as the head coach, in the convo from yesterday? And I know you're a Sundowns fan, so I want to hear from you guys.
It's with due respect, I don't think he's my top five per se, but top 10 definitely on the current 15 teams, right? Another thing is you're not seeing all the time. You're just seeing of the 16
Just,
teams
yeah,
which are
of the
here,
16 teams, yeah, that are going into
just
next
16
season.
teams, yeah, that are looking for it, you know. So he makes it precisely because you have to look at the tactics, the
Okay.
football played. You know, even under say Jingles, we never went to those Arabs and dominated. You know, like the way we dominated under Rulani. Say what you may about his game management, but
Yeah.
the football was entertaining. It was dominant. You know, like you don't think this is luck. You can see this was drilled. You know, even when we were 10 men, 1 man down against was that Wydad,
Why
you
did,
could
yeah.
see the shape. Yeah, you could see the shape. You could see everything. But ultimately, the reason why he doesn't make it into the top five or that high is the inexperience part of it. That he lacked. We saw on the Wydad game that he lacks that experience, that in-game management. You know, he's attack. But when it comes to managing the game, that's where he fails. You know, that's why he doesn't make it quite that much. You know, but we cannot be looking at ageism. We gotta look at tactics. You know, gotta look at your influence on the style of play and also the pressure. You know, some teams don't have pressure. You know, say what you may about Ntseki. Ntseki will be under pressure. You
I
know,
wasn't
doesn't
even in
matter
my
what
top
he's got.
10.
If he gets a top three for me, yeah, but you put in Ntseki, yes, position 3 or position 4. I'll put him in my top 10 at the end of the season because with the pressure that comes in with causing Kaizer Chiefs, you know. Now imagine you're taking over from Mangoba and you have to hit the ground running because it's a must that you win something, you know. So I think he deserves his flowers. Just that hella, his arrogance sometimes aches people like me. Nayan has arrogance, to be honest. Just a must. He's just too arrogant.
Yeah.
I don't like him. But as a coach, excluding
Yeah.
his personality traits, he's a good coach.
I think for me, it wasn't even about the tactics and things like that. For me, I don't think Rulani is a bad coach. I think he's one of the brilliant ones. But when we're doing those type of lists, tactically, I can put him ahead of Abo, I don't know, Caetano Tembo and them, for example, right? Tactically, that's why for
Yeah.
me, he's in my top five for this season. He's in my top five, but the reason why I didn't put him highly was that he's going up against guys that have 9 years of work. So who's gone up and down. So it's like one of the things where it's like um, taking somebody who's in the first year of work versus somebody who's in the 10 years of work. The first year work might be incredible, but with the 10 years person, I know exactly who they are from the length of time I've seen them, if that makes sense. So Rulani could go on to be incredible, could go on to have a 10-year period that is second to none, right? But I can't grade him on what I think he'll be in the future when you're grading him against people that have been there and maybe won trophies in worse conditions, had to build teams. You know, when you talk about Gavin Hunt having won 4 league titles with like teams that you'd never think about, right? I can't yet put him there. Maybe in 5 years' time, when you look back at it again, then he will have earned that slot. But in terms of him having the head coaching title, like fully and the responsibility, that 6 months, as great as it was, I just can't, you know?
Yeah, I mean, you could flip it and say, you expect someone with experience to do a better job than someone with that experience. You know, that's why for me, I'm rating Jose and Rulani a bit better, because in that short period of time, you could see what they're about. You know, like everyone has figured out Jose. Jose is a winning coach. He doesn't matter. He doesn't care about whether I'm playing 1-2 touch ball or long ball or whatever
Yeah.
ball, as long as I'm winning. You know, that's the mark of a good coach. You know,
But
and
I only rate.
but if you look at people like the reason why, and people are arguing with me, like people like Steve Barker. Steve Barker has been in the job for so long, but you can't say to me this is the way Steve Barker teams play. You know,
That's why
because
I
his
rank
teams are
Rulani
always
ahead of
whatever
him.
changing.
Exactly
Yes,
that. I was
yeah.
talking more about your Eric Tinklers, who's been to a Confed final, who's won a trophy, who's guided Cape Town City for a while. And that's why I said there's placeholder coaches for me that Rulani ranks above. Then I can go to tactics and stuff. But then it's not to say that Tinkler is better. It's just that we know fully what Tinkler is. You get what I mean? Like we know
Yeah.
that, okay. But anyway, let's not go too deep in it. Eh? Let's not go too deep in it.
Yeah.
Top 10 coaches all time PSL. Tell me, PSL era. Tell me who's your number 10.
Oh, so it's PSL era, excluding NSL. Okay.
Yeah, I don't want to put in NSL because
Okay, but still, I think my number 10 is not gonna change. I think it's Ernest Middendorp.
Okay.
I think like I said, there are coaches who trophy and league honors coaches, and there are coaches who would keep team stable, and there are coaches who are relegation specialists, So I think when we're looking at that trajectory, we're seeing all coaches. We're not just seeing coaches who win trophies, We're looking at coaches who also can bring stability. And I think Ernest Middendorp is one of the brilliant coaches who can stabilize a team, who can build a team again and again and again and again. I think that's why, for me, he's in the top 10. And of recent, I think he's the only one who has come close to breaking the 10 streak of the big team. Yes.
Okay. Look, man. Look. All I'm saying is he's the most hated second place finisher, lasted on the final day, man, of all time. I don't even know why he's hated that much. Let me bring you to Usihle. Usihle, welcome to the show, my brother. How are you doing? You can just unmute there. Kare, we're gonna have we've got some network issues there. Okay, let me do this. Sitla, I think you can try join again. Richie, welcome to the show, my brother. How are you doing? Devan, what's going on, guys? Yeah.
He went to warm his food quickly, Jay. He'll be back.
Okay. Hey, guys. Okay, Malume, I'll come back to you then. No, actually, let me do this. Let me bring in Vutlari. Vutlari, welcome to the show, my brother. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you, man?
No, I'm good. Did you watch the show yesterday?
Yesterday, in the afternoon.
Yeah, in the afternoon.
No, I couldn't, man. I was working night, and the day before I just did because of financial. Yesterday I was top tired.
Okay, no stress, no stress. So I'll just move straight into your top 10 for this.
Okay.
Greatest coaches of all time PSL era, right? There's so many names. Who's your number 10?
My number 10. So.
Eva, no skale matsangwana.
I the one this Papa is take, Nana.
Okay, wait. Butlare,
You come back to me.
Okay, I see Richie's here. Richie, are you back, my brother? How are you doing?
Hey, I'm good, my brother. How's it?
Ring Europe morning.
Come again?
No stress, don't worry. Were you watching the afternoon show yesterday?
I couldn't, man. I was at work.
There we go. No stress.
But as to the conversation that you guys were having, I could already make out, okay, this was the topic yesterday.
But let me just jump straight. I'm gonna jump straight into the top 10 question. Here we are with the top 10 PSL era coaches of all time. Who is your number 10 in your eyes?
I might get a lot of slack for this one, but I'm not sure if it was
when you start with disclaimers. When people start with disclaimers, that's how I know.
Yeah, I'm probably thinking. Do you remember that big Ajax season?
Okay.
Remember Coach Foppa de Haan?
Okay.
That coach took an Ajax team from nothing to something. By them losing the league on the last day to Pirates. I feel I'm all for youth, and I love a coach that builds a team that hasn't had trophies in many years, even though that coach didn't win the league in that season, but he gave us some entertainment, man. In that team you had the likes of Abo Serrero, Kama Billiard, George Maluleka, Tulani Hlatwayo, you know, Abo
Hans Fall, hey.
Clayton, you know, that team made a lot of they upsetted a lot of teams. I remember I went to watch a game in Newlands, Chiefs. I'm a Chiefs supporter, and who's this guy? Franklin Kale broke Itumele Nkune's finger. Yeah, you see, he built a team from nothing. I respect a coach that does that.
Okay.
You understand? I as to the Rulani issue, man, kuse early, guys. Kuse early when it comes to Rulani, to put him in a conversation with Abo Eric Tinkler, Abo Kevin Hunt. These are seasonal coaches, guys. These are guys that have proven themselves over and over. Rulani had a chance to prove himself at Orlando Pirates. Pirates were playing good football, but they weren't winning games. You understand? There's a saying in football that good football won't win games unless you are Barcelona 5 years back. You understand? You won't win games with good football. That was the problem at Pirates. At Cheaper, I won't even get into that because we didn't see anything of Rulani at Cheaper.
Yeah, it was just a game, I think.
Exactly. So he hasn't proven himself for me. Even last season, he's too in himself, man. Arrogant, man. He's young, I understand. He's confident, I love that. You know, I love a confident coach, but You must know your place, man, in this life.
Okay.
You must know your place. You must know your place. So for him, he still has a lot to prove.
Okay, no, I hear
He
you.
still has. Yeah.
I just want to make sure. So number 10 is Foptihan. I feel like there's some
Foptihan.
Cape Town bias happening here, but we'll see. Mutari, you back, Mutari?
My man.
Shebari Popeye, they'll put on Cocomelon, Chief. It's fine, we understand. So I wanted to ask you.
I wanted to reduce the volume, and he's sleepy, so that provoked him. But now he's sleepy.
Tell me about your top 10. Who's your number 10 PSL era coach of all time?
Number 10. Oh. I think for me, I didn't see much of a lot of coaches because, when you were young, those eras, you didn't see much of a lot of coaches. But who Egerson, I think, can be my number 10.
Number 10? You put him 10?
Definitely.
A man that won 4 league titles. Sundowns, Manning Rangers, and Santos. You're putting him 10.
He did win those, but I was not convinced about him at some point. Because maybe I got him when he was at Santos. And so you see, when you're still young, the football, you do watch it, but you don't watch it to that level of understanding.
Yeah.
So I got him a bit late from his career, and then that's when he moved to Bafana. But for me, when he was at Bafana, I didn't like him at all.
Okay. I hear you.
I understand that you guys are old. Hence, you see him coach.
I don't say you guys are old.
What I've seen.
You don't say you guys are old. You're not old, guys. My youth league. I can still get youth league membership right now if I wanted to. Let me go to Malume Kutso. Barry, you're old, Chief. You're old. That's why you remember these things. You're old.
It's interesting. Mutar is so brave. You don't have to be born in a specific era to understand Uguti. You can't fluke 4 league titles. But
So let's carry on with your list. Who's your number 9? You've got Costa Papic at number 10. Who are you bringing in number 9?
Another unlucky guy.
Okay.
Well, you see, disclaimer. In terms of in the same breath that Uvutari spoke, I'm just gonna exclude 2 guys for me, right?
Don't say the names because it might be on somebody else's list. Or you might give somebody ideas.
Okay, because I haven't really watched them properly, even though they inducted me into Orlando Pirates. So shout out to them. But my number 9 would be Roger.
Oh, Roger Tissa.
He did what many people cannot do, what is foreign to South Africa. And I think only Pitso managed to do something similar to him, which is longevity at one team. Did very well at Wits in terms of sustaining the team.
Wasn't he the CEO at some point?
Yeah, but a more prominent role than just a coach. So I respect what he did there as an employee. The only other person who would do that is Jomason. But
Jomo was CEO, kit manager, physical trainer, masseuse, driver. Hey.
And also when you move to Pirates, we got to see maybe at Vets he really had an issue with quality. Because I think the country is where it is today because of Roger. We don't give him enough credit. He's one of those unsung heroes. About the saying, "Sabo Solomon Mahlangwen, bo agent, sabo my blood will nourish the tree." His blood has nourished this very tree. The sudden interest in CAF competition. Out of nowhere, he came through, took Pirates to the Champions League final when the last time a South African team had gotten to a Champions League final was in 2002, if not 2000. That was Mamelodi Sundowns. So for me, he goes down as one of the best to ever do it at number 9.
Okay, Rosa Tisa, Agent 007. Are you also an old man? Are you also an old man?
No. I'm still young.
So, who's your number 9?
No, some of us, because we like football, we watch retros, a lot of retros that we have watched, and Dr. Kumalos, we see the retros that, hey, those guys were Mnandi, man, eh?
You brought
Not
up
that we were there when they were playing.
You brought up NSL.
No, I'm just saying, like, I'm not that old, just that we know Dr. Kumalo was good because we have seen videos, not that when we was playing, we could see what was going on.
Who's
I think
your number 9?
my number 9, I think, yeah, Kiki Muchino Chincha, the first man to retire live on live television. Yeah, I think, I don't know, maybe my memory is a bit clouded, but wasn't he the one? Because I think if I recall well, we used to call them Machines Chickens, that Ajax team is run of Samuel Duty and Cole Alexandra and Buditsi, those one, So yeah, I think we felt a suitable team.
But anyway, yeah. Oh, so you're going with the Mushin Etrigal.
Yeah, and he did himself well, I mean, other teams, I think Chiefs he did well. Well. Now looking back, I think what he did was well, and yeah, I think I'll put him there,
Okay. No, I hear you.
And also at Arrows he did well.
Yeah. Vutlari, you're hearing what the old men are saying. Well, who's your number 9?
The old men are speaking. God. So am I allowed to repeat a coach, right?
You're allowed to
repeat a coach that someone has said.
Yeah, no, this is your own top 10. Yeah, you can repeat the coaches.
Okay, since I'm young and I'm fresh, for me, I think I'll go with, this is an unfamiliar one, but based on where he has taken certain teams, like where he has taken your Maritzburg and put them on the top 8 for the first time, your Free Sisters. Though it's not fair that I put Igas in number 10, that I put him there, but I'll go with Steve Compella as number 9.
Okay, Steve Compella as number 9.
He has not won anything as a standalone coach, but when you look at it, when you look at the competition that he brought into the PSL, the competition that when Maritzburg, he was coaching Maritzburg, how competitive Maritzburg was, how competitive the Sisters was, and at some point Golden Arrows as well. So I think I'll put him there as number 9.
Okay, no, hey, we remember. What was it? Was it Gobble Park? There was Gobble Park for a bit, and then it was what's the other one? I'm forgetting, but yeah, those stadiums used to be tough to go to. Prarichi, who's your number 9?
Yes, sir. Okay. I think I'm with I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing his name correct. Vutlari. Yeah, Vutlari. We are Tina Singama youngster, you understand? So we speak in our era. So we speak in our era. No, I think in my number 9 I'll go for Uten Malesela.
Okay,
Uten. The reason why I'm going for Uten, if you look at Chippa United, Chippa United before Uten, I won't say they had an identity in the football that they were playing. You understand? Uten came in there and he brought in an identity, he brought in his philosophy. The players played for the badge. You understand? Now I'm a guy, I respect a coach that comes in and then he changes the whole team into what he wants the team to play. Because if you check also, what's this team? Marumo Gallants. Marumo Gallants wasn't just a walkover of a team when he was there. You knew when you go to Gallants, you're going to get a game. Because they're going to knock the ball around, they're going to challenge you. You understand? So I'll give it to 10-10s. My number 9 is 10-10s.
Okay. I hear you. We've got 10 tents in. Let me go back to Malume Kuto. We've got 10 tents. We've got Foppe de Haan. We've got our Steve Compella. You know who's joining your top 8?
But before I give you my number 8, these ones, Bo, Votlar and Rich, they must declare their age. Choro Motumo is 55, calling himself a youngster, trying to be fresh. Anyway, my number 8 is a difficult one.
Okay.
I had put him at number 7, but after better consideration, I've decided, you know what, he must come down to number 8. Legend, by any stretch of our imagination. Going with the big dog, Clive Barker.
Oh, Clive. Amazulu days.
Not even Amazulu days.
King Kana, before that, it was... What was it?
I'm not even taking those days into consideration, meaning Rangers and all of that. I'm mainly taking into consideration what he did with Wits and Mpumalanga Black Aces.
Oh, okay.
What he did Mpumalanga Black Aces, for me, it was beautiful. They were a real team. You couldn't just go there and come back willy-nilly. And I think he put them number 4.
Okay.
If I'm not mistaken. So also the fact that he remains the only coach to ever give us that 1 star. It's cherry on top for that.
Okay, I hear you. I think I should also start following you guys. Because last time I got asked at the end. Let me follow you guys. I'll give my 10 and 9. Quickly. So my 10 is Benny McCarthy. I think what Benny did at Cape Town City, but also when he arrived at Amazulu, was incredible for that period that he had, the time there. And if not for Babzungu not giving him the resources that he needed, maybe it could have been a bit bigger. But then obviously Manchester United bound. Then at number 9, I'm going to go with Stuart Baxter. My list is Hollywood, guys. I feel like you guys are playing nice games, but my list is Hollywood. Stuart Baxter is my number 9. Came into the country, again, didn't know anything about the derby. I remember those first few interviews, I was so angry because he didn't know anything about Kaizer Chiefs, about Pirates, about the league, and he was straightforward with it, but was able to create a very strong, very, very strong Chiefs team and also move on to Supersport and do some things there. So I'm going to give him my number 9 spot. Agent 007, who is your 8?
Hush. Some of you guys, I see what you guys are doing there, but it's okay.
I'm going Hollywood, me. Now I'm not playing. I'm going Hollywood.
Some of the small boys about baby. But anyways, let me move on. Sundowns is playing today. I don't want to argue with anyone. I need all the luck I can get.
Anyway, let me not do that. Yeah. So your number 8?
My number 8 would be Roger Disa.
Okay.
I think, if you look at what he did at Platinum Stars, Ajax, Pirates, Engine Santos, Vets, he deserves to be in the top 8 of players, And you look at these teams, Platinum Stars and your Ajax, your Vets, and your Santos. They're not. We respected them because of people like Roger Desai, because of the game that created the upsets they caused, especially Agent Santos, that's why I enjoyed Roger Desai, so I think he deserves to be in the top 8.
Okay, Roger Desai, that's a good shout. Mutari, who's your number 8?
For me, that's a difficult one. I'm split between two coaches, but oh, I think I'll go with uh, U, Stuart Baxter.
Okay, Stuart Baxter.
I think he had a very good stand at Kaizer Chiefs the first time he came in, and he was clear the kind of football that he was playing, and he stick to what he was playing. He never succumbed to pressure, even when he moved on to Supersport. Basically, in South Africa, he had one of the most successful seasons where from Chiefs he won trophies. He went to Orlando Pirates, won trophies. So for me, he's number 8. It was a difficult one, but I'll just say he's the number 8 for now.
Okay. Don't copy my memo, please. No, I'm joking, Richie.
I wanted to say to Abudu Kucho, don't worry, Abudu Kucho, it's football age. Football
Richie, who's the number 8? Oh, got it. There we go.
I'm here. But Kucho, we are very young. We still, in Khoza they will say Sizengo Buso Elizweni. So we are still young.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, for my number 8, I'll go for Umushin.
Okay.
Only for what he did at Kaizer Chiefs and Ajax. You see, he at Chiefs Chiefs was a formidable team. You understand that Chiefs was a good team. Chiefs had an identity. You see, obviously from the previous coaches, about Ted came in there. Ted, he made that team look so beautiful, and then with the coaches that came after him, Abo Mushin. So yeah, I'll give Mushin the number 8 for what he did at Chiefs and at Ajax, because Ajax was a competing team. So yeah, that's my number 8.
Okay, I hear you. My number 8 is also Umushin Etrigal. Yeah, my days with him were fun when I was as a Chiefs fan, and also just that Ajax team that he came into, and I think they were going through a dip, if I'm not mistaken, when Mushin took over, and at that time he was unfancied. I think he had bounced around maybe 1 or 2 teams, if I'm not mistaken, and then he came in and stabilized that Ajax team and actually had them playing very good football on top of what he did at Kaizer Chiefs, man. For me, I remember an angry man on the side. His hair was always shaking. He was always angry. And it's those type of things that I used to watch and enjoy. Let me read some of the comments quickly. I've missed some of these. Let's skip the other ones. Okay. Yeah, we're gonna do predictions for the upcoming games for the PSL at the end, for this weekend's games. Oh, Samuel, you have to request, my brother. You have to request. When is Zere playing? We're playing on Sunday morning, 4 a.m. Banyana is going to be playing Netherlands. Nice soccer corner, guys. I enjoy listening to your topics. Thank you so much, Titus. I guess you're all remembering. You're all too young to remember Mr. Shoeshine and Piano referring to Screamer. Hey, EJ, whenever we refer to Screamer, Prasten, he's now Prasten, he's not Screamer anymore. So don't show your age. Let me check on Facebook. Upusihle says, afternoon, my brother. Hope you're doing good. I'm doing well. I just have one question. How to become a coach? I'd have to look into that for you, but I'll find somebody that can help out and then I'll put it on the channel. I don't want to say that name, Givenchy Amiri. I don't want to say that name because he might come up later. Vamuhle says, Gwandebe Gwamhlanga, Parliament Sasa office. We're watching you live. Thank you so much, Vamuhle. Thank you. Hey, some of the people are showing Guti, maybe they need Isasa now, but we'll see what happens there. Who's your top 7? Who's starting your top 7?
I'm going with someone who's not respected enough, and I think it's mainly because of his attitude, and by attitude I mean his character rather. Just a quiet man who's just here to do his job. Shapile history, that guy. Golden Arrows, I think that's their only trophy ever.
A 6-0. A 6-0. Yeah.
Cabo Zondo was known for having steadied the ship, having done wonders with a side that had no quality. And he came in and he showed, no, you can actually do better with this side. And he won 6-0. He has a league title, if not titles, to his name, which he's never credited enough for. So I think Coach Mangoba, for me, takes number 7. And he only takes number 7 because the top 6 is, it's jam-packed. It's locked.
Okay. The only thing I remember the 6th goal of that match.
Manglan.
When he and then he chipped it.
I think Lena, he was shocked by what he did there. He would never do that again.
Agent 007. You see, SASA offices are watching, guys. So please don't lie about your ages. It's okay. Sifoli line, it's okay, guys. Who's the number 7?
No, some of us do know our names. Yeah. So, I think this is the last one of the recent coaches, and then I think after this it becomes old heads now.
Yeah.
I think number 7. I had put in someone else at number 7. So I think I'm switching it. I'm putting Stuart Baxter.
Okay.
I think he was revolutionary. I think I was smiling when I heard Ten Hag saying he wants Manchester United to be a good transitioning team. It's like, no, we've had that team before in SA, it's called Kaizer Chiefs, He introduced the concept, like most people started to watch transitions that, they call transitions, so I think it was revolutionary in that sense, Most of the coaches now, in terms of turning defense into attack, like the new terminology that you are hearing sounds familiar, like seems like I've heard this before, I've heard it from Stuart before, pressing from the top, losing the ball, gaining it, so I think it was revolutionary. It's only that his second stint or the third stint at Chiefs didn't turn out so well, and he just had a mediocre career after the 2015 thing, whatever that was time was at Chiefs, and then but otherwise in terms of revolutionizing South African football, I think he is my number 1. I mean my number 7.
Number 7, very far from 1, but number 7. Let me bring it to Butlare. Butlare, who's the number 7?
Oh, it's getting tough, eh?
Yeah. Now my top 3 is set. I know my top 3.
Those ones are clear. Those ones are clear. For me, I'm stuck between 2 coaches, but the other one, he was an enemy to me, but he was a very good coach. But I'll still say Benny McCarthy. I think the coach that he was.
Yeah.
And I started seeing him that he's a very brave coach. Not so many coaches in South Africa will do what Benny did. Benny stick to what he did. He didn't take any nonsense from anyone. And I enjoyed Benny McCarthy at Cape Town City. Amazulu, it was good, but at Cape Town City, that was a beast. He changed that entire team to be a very competitive team. And as you know, his first season he won a trophy. But even though towards the end of his time at Cape Town City, I think they sold a lot of players. They didn't give him enough time to also rebuild the team. But for me, I'll go with Benny McCarthy, the Man United coach.
Hey, I'll never forget to Benny wanting to slap someone. I've never seen a coach that angry, and I was like, yeah, Benny's here now. Richie, tell me who your number 7 is.
Okay. I think my number 7, I'll go with OVV.
Okay.
Vladimir Vladimirovich.
Yeah.
Yeah, how he brought the good days to Kaizer Chiefs. Even though I don't think we won a league under him, but we won trophies. Yeah, we won trophies under him, and he went to Orlando Pirates. I think he did the same thing there. He won trophies. You understand? It's not a lot of coaches that goes from Chiefs to Pirates or from Pirates to Chiefs and achieve. Ifana nama-player suka kwi-Pirates aza kwi-Chiefs and from Chiefs the other way. It's not all of them that succeed unless you are Jimmy Dow. You understand? Yeah, that's the only player. But I'll go with OVV.
Okay.
Yeah.
Vladimir Vamezovic. My number seven is who I have him higher than Ukosta Papic. And Ukosta Papic, I know he became a journeyman at some point, but one of the few coaches as well to go from Pirates to Chiefs and continue winning. I just love his football, man. Like, I know Chiefs we speak about. I personally don't think we had like a tactical culture, but the coaches that came to us really played well. And maybe it's my Chiefs bias here, but I rate him more for the Chiefs stint. But yeah, I do know that he's one of the better coaches to have taken the pressure of both the giants and played well. So I'm gonna put Konstantin Papic at number 7. Malume Kutso, top 6. Who's your 6?
Yeah, now this one it's starting to become difficult. Former Chiefs,
Okay.
former Sundowns, former Bloemfontein Celtic, Mr. Criminal, Paul Dolezal. It is criminal.
It is criminal. Arakali, the water bottle on the side of the pitch.
And mostly, I enjoyed what he did at Celtics with his two animals, Colin Shabalala. It's Colin Shabalala and kind of was Rotzen Kilambe.
Yeah.
Yeah, he brought some real glory days when Celtics was desperate for something. I think they played SAA Super 8 final against Super Sports United. And the country was buzzing because if in life there are people who are loved more than others, and Celtics is one of those teams in the country whereby the entire country just loves Bloemfontein Celtics because of what they do. Even though I will say, I want to go on record and say, in real life, guys, Celtics fans are not so nice. When you experience them, they swear so much, it is unbelievable. But on TV, they are the best. But in real life, those guys are they're just violent.
So how can Porter in real life? He's gonna give you a hard time.
Actually, speaking of Porter doesn't give you a hard time, but the Celtics fans already have a song where they call him Porter Mene and they swear at him because apparently he sold out the culture. Those guys are just violent. Trust me, I've seen them at Orlando. They're not pleasant people. But we all at some point wanted Celtics to win something because of what they meant for the culture of South African football. And Paul Dolezal gave them that. So he goes in as is it number 6 or number 7?
Number 6.
Yeah,
number
he goes
6.
in as my number 6.
Okay, I hear you. Agent 007. Tell me who your number 6 is.
But we put on Kuto is not doing us justice now. You know, he's starting to expose us slowly but surely. But it's fine. It's fine. For my number 6, I'm going with Mr. Rudolph Joseph Kroll. You know,
okay.
You know, I think most people won't realize that, you know, the double treble team that was built by Ruud Krol. You know, if I recall well, he won the first one, and then he was kicked out immediately. You know, the following season, not even the following season, before the following season began. You know, remember me right? So that team was his, you know, and he was going to be ahead, if he had stayed for those 3 years, because I think Pirates were still gonna win the double treble, and
Hey. He had
you
us
know,
on the ropes, man. That man had us on the ropes. Dude,
and if you
that's
think
my
about
worst time as a Chiefs fan. My worst time was double treble.
yo,
Yo, my
yeah,
worst
Tula
time.
Sisombiani.
Yes, yo, my worst time.
Yeah, and I think most people like the thing with success is, and I think there's the argument that sometimes I'm trying to make that, the impact that Rulani is making at Sundowns now, if it is bad, is going to be felt not 3 seasons from now, but 4 or 5 seasons from now.
Steve Compel at Chiefs.
Yeah, and this is what happens with what happened. What is the word, the English word, interference by management started at that time, and Ruud Krol couldn't have any of it, and he was sidelined, and he didn't get enough support from Paris fans because they were enjoying or they were blinded by the success. But that's where the Paris problem began, So for that reason, I think, he is my number 6,
Okay.
just shy of the top 5.
Oh, Ruud Krol. Hey, that man made me. Yo, school was tough, guys. School was tough. After that, let me go to Ubutari Butari. Who's your number 6?
Oh, beautiful one. For me, my man, guys, now it's getting tough for me. But as young as I am, as tough as it is for me to choose between the two, but I'll go for the quiet man, the mastermind, Umangcoba Mngcuthi.
Okay.
For me, I think even though he stayed as an assistant for a very long time, but I only remember him with that Golden Arrows team. As I just said, that 6-0, you watch it over and over again. You go to YouTube, look at the highlights. I mean, that was a banger of a team, and I think that's what forced Coach Pitso to look at him. And he played beautiful football. He played beautiful football. So yeah, I was a bit confused which one to choose. 0079, like you see when you realize that now it's getting tougher.
Yeah.
You might have put Abantaba useless before now, but for me, Umangcoba Mngcuthi, I think he's a guy for me.
Okay. Richie, who's your number 6?
Ish. You see, I agree with Uvutlari. It's getting tough now.
It's hard
getting
now.
tough. Kushushu baba, kushushu. I'm caught between 2 coaches here. One is going to be my number 5, and one is going to be my number 6.
Okay.
But because of the inexperience, but he's achieved, I'm gonna go with Upeni.
Okay.
At number 6, because Upeni has achieved, guys. We don't have a lot of coaches that goes from a small team like Amazulu to being a coach at Manchester United. Manchester United is one of the biggest teams in the world. And the coach came to our country and looked at Upeni. It's a big achievement for us as a country, but also for himself, because check Cape Town City. Cape Town City played. Cape Town City played. Even Amazulu played. But because of the politics in football, I think sometimes our worst enemies are our board members, or the interference from the board. It's too much, man. It's even hitting us at the national level at this moment. It's hitting us a lot. But yeah, my number 6 is Upeni.
Okay, I hear you. My number 6 is going to be Coach Manqoba, a man that I would have loved to see at Kaizer Chiefs right now, but I'm not going to speak about Kaizer Chiefs. Manqoba, when we speak about identity in football, the way he carried that Abafana West 10, the identity of the Golden Arrows, was incredible. They were a very amazing team to watch. I believe was Mabuti there. Abo Papi Zotwane, guys that we really wanted at Kaizer Chiefs at some point, but they were brought in by him. And I think also you give him credit as well for some of the Sundowns things. I know a lot of people, we've had the conversations about Rulani and all that stuff, but I really feel like what Pitso did was Pitso realized that to play that shoeshine piano type football, I need somebody who's playing something similar and can bring that into the team. And I think that's where Umangoba comes in, over and above the fact that he was head coach on the times when they've won the league as well. So I think Umangoba, in terms of South African coaches, he's one of the ones that has shown that outside of a big team, I can be relatively successful. They won the trophy, but they had an identity. And then also inside at Sundowns, having taken over from Pitso, that was a very hot thing. So a very hot job, very hot seat with a lot of pressure, a lot of questions and things like that. So having taken that over and actually played well, I give it to Mangoba. I don't think we give him credit for that as much as we give other people credit for that. But yeah, Madame Kuto, top 5.
Mr. Uti, hey, I'm shocked that people are saying it's difficult, and then they come with, it's fine. But and also
You're old,
whatever. Yeah, no, I'm very old.
Who's old? Wait, who's old?
No, someone just said I'm old. I think it's Richie. He just said on his mic to say I'm old. So I'm confirming his thoughts. But I'm very old. Very old. But anyway.
That's why you started as Abuti on this show and you became Malume very quickly.
Exactly. Soon I'll be Tatum. But it's fine. So, my number 5, I'm happy that people are putting Coach Mangoba on this list. It proves what I think it's the Tsonga people say, which his work is really speaking for him. He doesn't have to be snacks towards people for us to know what he's about. I'm happy that such a character can make it this far on people's lists.
Nazo 24,000. Nazo, thank you, Baba Mteto, 24,000, guys. We've reached the goal.
Deserve it, my G.
Thank you, my guy.
Nice one. My number 5, I remember when he first arrived, a certain individual was caught on camera instructing him to make a substitution. Dako Ellis Park by that red wall, that individual, I said that hand sign. So, and he actually made the sub, which goes back to what you said yesterday. These European guys, they come here, they work under these bad conditions, but they still make it. And that is Urut Krol. He was able to build. Yes, and he benefited from the culture of Pirates. Pirates is not usually quick to pull the trigger when it comes to coaches, which is why Owen Takamo were able to put us go number 8. And I think was it Bibi Mutombo was able to take us out of the top 8 for the first time ever. I'm not sure if it's him. Or was it Vivi? One of these coaches. Yeah, so Pirates does give coaches time, and Kroll used it properly. And he didn't just benefit because we gave him time, but because the first 2 seasons, he got to finals. I remember he lost against Ajax, and he was born number 2. When Teko Modise was the only player at some point, and everyone else was just backup, he built a nice team there. But I'll also be honest that I remember the talks on the streets when he was fired and people were complaining. I was like, "You are not honest," because at some point you're always saying that Kroll is not playing beautiful football. You're not enjoying what Kroll is doing, but suddenly because Orlando Pirates is letting him go, you're suddenly saying, "Why would you let someone with three trophies go?" But
so what I'm hearing is this is the Middendorp. Before Middendorp, the last time with Middendorp. Well, at least one trophies. At least one trophies with Kroll, yeah.
Somewhat. It's just with Kroll, it's not that his football was ugly. as much as I made it up. It's just that it was un-South African, if there's such a word, in a
Total
sense.
football, Dutch football.
Total football. In a sense of which wingers were expected to go down the line and cross.
Yes.
Pillar, Daintlate is that type of winger. Bomabalane. Pirates, wingers are supposed to go down when they get to the byline, first eliminate the right back, and then stand on the ballnyana, wipe your sweat, do some push-ups, and then you can play that cross. You understand?
Yeah.
That was the Pirates type of football. Until Kroll came in, but the Daintlate were getting down the byline. I'll call you. But the Daintlate were getting down the byline and doing the job. So I'm giving it to Kroll.
Okay, Ruud Krol, number 5. Call the person. Agent 007. Give me your number 5.
Yeah, no, Abut, I was telling you, I was the one who was saying we are old. You know, you look at our list, you can see similarities. That hey, this one is a class on its own, and then the Jet Butare are exposing now this other class. But there used to be a coach. You know, he's not going to make it into my 11, my 10. You know.
Okay.
You know, because I don't know his name. Because that's why he's not making it. You know, some called, I don't know if you know him. It's called Victor Bondarenko.
Bondarenko. Victor, I'm happy. I'm very happy. I'm happy.
Yeah. Hey man, but anyways, I was just saying, let's expose our age a bit. I'm going to put in that's number 5. I'm going to put in Igerson, but there's a close call between him and number 4. But I'll put Igerson. I think, you know, winning trophies, you know, at SuperSport, you know, Sundowns and Swallows, you know, and Ajax, you know, is very right. Yeah, it was a Santos.
Yeah, it was Santos. Yeah, the people's team. It was his team.
Yeah, you know, so winning trophies in like 3 or 4 different clubs is not, you know, it's not easy, you know. So I think for that reason I'm putting a number 5, you know. And the job that he did, you know, at SuperSport, you know, he did well, you know. Like I think after the departure of Hand, Mosimane and Thomas Madikhache, you know, the 3 wise men, you know. A lot of people don't know there was 3 wise men before. 3 wise men now.
They don't know.
So I think he did a good job of, you know, re-establishing SuperSport again as a competitive team, you know. So yeah, I think he deserves to be my number 5, you know.
Okay, got it, Igerson. Guys, now I have anyway. Let's go into Vutlare. Vutlare, who's the number 5?
Yeah. You know, but number 4 is one of the top 4.
Yeah.
Straightforward.
Yeah.
I'll give it to Roger Disa.
Okay.
Even though Roger Disa and Ruud Krol, they are one and the same in a way that if you were to say choose 2 coaches to be number 5, they were going to be both number 5 because of what they did with Orlando Pirates and one after the other. So for me, they're inseparable. For what one introduced this type of football, brought in a bit of discipline, tried to introduce the fighting spirit, Orlando Pirates, and Roger Desa came in and just executed everything with a bit of decent football, and that was an amazing Orlando Pirates that I've ever seen in those times. So, yeah, I'll choose him as well.
Okay. Roger decide number 5. Titus is saying in the comments, I was about to say, I'll be disappointed if Victor Takatak won't be listed. Hey, Titus, you're also showing your age there. You're showing your age there. Richie, number 5.
Number 5, I think I'm going with Ruud Krol.
Okay.
Yeah, Ruud Krol. It's not easy to win a treble, guys. It's not easy at all to win a treble. For a coach to achieve in South Africa and win a treble, we should all applaud. We should all applaud. So my number 5 is Ruud Krol. I just don't feel like Vutlari said, if you put Ruud Krol and Roger De Sa, let's be honest, guys. Roger and Ruud Krol are two different coaches. Those are two different coaches. And Roger, I think he was helped by this Carlos Queiroz to revive his career. Otherwise, his career was finished. His career was finished. So, a coach like Ruud Krol to come to our country and win a treble, beautiful.
Okay. I think at this point we're all copying from each other, because Ruud Krol is also my number 5. And listen, all I know is that treble felt like the easiest treble. Like, you know, when somebody comes in and just shocks the system, like you sit back and you're like, what were we playing? Because to win that first double treble and then he left and then they won the second one. All I know is that for those 2 years, my life was hell. My life was hell.
As a Chief supporter,
my life was hell. They had a star. Then they did treble. Then they did double treble. Yo, guys, you couldn't go anywhere. You couldn't breathe. So I'm gonna give the architect of my pain number 5. Malume Kuto, top 4. Now I know there's names I'm expecting here at top 4. There's names I'm expecting. So we'll see what's going to happen. I think he might be on a phone call. Malume Kuto is still on a phone call. Yeah, I think he's still on a phone call. Agent 007, give me your top 4. While Malume Kuto sorts out his business. I know there's names I'm expecting here, man. There's names I'm expecting.
He's negotiating Lobola now, you know,
Yeah.
Uncle Patrice now. Yeah, no, I think this one was a close call between him and you know, and what do you call him? And Egerton, you know. If he had won enough trophies, I think I would have pushed him to number 3 and swapped him with someone there.
Okay.
But I'm going for, you know, what he's saying, you know, shakes, you know, confuses my players, you know, he looks this way and passes the other way, you know, he's just a criminal, you know him, the dog himself, yeah. Paul Dolez, I think.
Paul Dolez.
I think he has, like, he suffers from the same fate as the Russian coach that I mentioned, Victor. Yeah, they won many games, but don't have enough titles to show for that.
The final, yeah.
I think, yeah, you know, it's like final, yeah, like they missed those things, like those little things, you know, and I think are the best, the top 2 coaches with the most wins, you know. So if I won trophies more, I would have definitely put him in my top 3, but I think here I'm putting him as my number 4, Paul Doleza.
Okay, Paul Doleza at number 4. Vutlari, who are you putting in? Oh, are you back? Okay, Malume Kuto.
Yeah, no, I was still consulting. Yeah. But anyway, doing some old people things.
No, it's okay, Joe. The fact that the Sasa office calls you, that's crazy. So tell me.
Top 4.
Who's at number 4?
Another journeyman. Did something that people will never do, most of them, or will never be capable of doing. And that's coaching all of the big 3 teams.
Okay.
Chiefs, Pirates, Sundowns. And he did well with Chiefs, and I think that's where he's remembered most. And I think he might have done well with Sundowns as well. We've had off-camera discussions about him, what I really think. But in terms of PSL and strictly PSL, I'm going with Ted Dimitri.
Hey! Oprah Ted. Kari specs it's a high, it's a red.
That's my number 4.
Okay, that's your number 4. Vutlari, who's your number 4?
Before I say who's my number 4, and for now on, it's no longer difficult, it's straightforward. But I want
Okay.
to say there's this coach. I feel like maybe because he's not won much, but he's a coach that believed in South African talent and playing a South African way. He's not part of the top four, but I feel like
An
I should
honorable
give him a
mention,
shout.
Jan.
Yeah, who coach Gavin Johnson. He's a
Okay,
very
Kevin
good coach.
Johnson. Mm.
He very believes in South African talent. If you remember, who's this boy? Uzizo.
Mm.
He played well under him. Zizo was the purest talent, but
Mm.
because of certain things. But Ojamo Pule, he really believed in talent and disciplining our players. But anyway, we're not there.
Okay.
I'm also surprised who reached Machine VV, guys. But anyway, I don't rate VV. But my number 4 is coach Umushina Tugral, the guy that his hair flies everywhere whenever he's
Yeah.
angry.
Yeah.
The only thing I remember him is always pushing his hair back, but there'll be like 3 hairs portraying it. So for me, the reason why Umushina Tugral, that's the time when I understood football. That's when football to me meant a lot. I never wanted to lose any Kaizer Chiefs games, and he was doing well. If you look at Umushina Tugral, his first start at Kaizer Chiefs, he came in without Javapula and he was brave. He'll go into a Chiefs, release all the senior players, remain with some of the young players that they will fight for him. And also, man, the time when he saved Ajax Cape Town from relegation, that was enough.
Yes.
You see, that time, that's when I realized this guy is a very good coach and he believes what he believes. I think his only problem was temper.
Yeah.
But otherwise,
I was gonna say.
his only problem was temper. And he comes very highly rated amongst the best Kaizer Chiefs coaches. Farouk Khan rates him the best because he knew how to integrate the MDC, but the development and the senior team. You'll see the promotion of players between him and Khan. He's very highly rated at promoting players. For me, I loved this guy during that time. I really, really loved him.
Okay, Mushin Etrigal. Richie, number 4.
In English, they say great minds think alike. So I'll go with Ted. Ted Dimitri.
Yeah.
The person that revived Kaizer Chiefs. I remember I was still in Dwananyana. I was very young. But I knew Ted. He brought the Chiefs that we all wanted to see. You understand? The Chiefs that we are looking for now is the Chiefs that Ted would have brought. You understand? At this time. So yeah, I'll go with Ted Dimitri.
Ted Dimitri. Hey guys, obviously now we're getting to the end of it. The way you're gonna see things look alike. Ted Dimitri brought me some of my favorite moments as a Kaizer Chiefs fan. I think Operation Fat Alex and all those things were under him. You know, KKP say high and his red, the specs high, it's a red. I used to enjoy football back then. Didn't necessarily understand it all the way, but there was a winning mentality that he brought. And then knowing that in the 90s, he had Sundowns. I believe he won the first, was it him or Gordon, who won the first leagues for Sundowns. So a coach who was able to do it in different places and somebody who inspired a lot of us. Like, as a Chiefs fan, I can't not have Ted Dimitri in a top 5, you know. So for me, the other guys have said a lot more about him than me. I'm going to leave it there. Malume Kutso, tang tang.
No, we are still here.
Tang tang. Top 3.
Top 3. I thought everyone's top 3 would have these names. The argument would be the order, but I can confidently say with my chest that we don't agree. But it's fine. My number 3, I'm going with Coach Pitso.
Coach Pitso, number 3, okay.
Yeah, Jingles Mosimane. 5 league titles with Sundowns. but
And a star.
a star. Yeah, the less said about that one, the better. You see, that's the thing. He did it well, and um, some parts are clouded. Wabo. For me, as I'm a staunch Pirate supporter. I'm sure we've all established, but his last league title that left a bitter taste in my mouth. A pure cheating, and if I'm ever to ascend into those PSL positions, I will review that one. Which no, you can't do that. The
How did
George
he?
Maluleke
Can you
issue.
please explain also that I can jump in?
Hey,
Yeah, no, it's
Sundowns.
fine. No,
Hey,
I've already
Sundowns.
I've already mentioned the George Maluleke issue.
Mm.
To buy a player so that you cripple the other team. You are no longer playing football. It's something else. That part just left a bitter taste in my mouth, and it showed which they had analyzed Chiefs which who's the most important player, and they found which okay, this if we take out this puzzle. In as much as a BMW is beautiful and all of that, we enjoy how it revs. But if you take out the battery of the car, it will not move. And that is exactly what they did. No one will tell you about, I love the color of the battery of the BMW. They will tell you about the rims and everything. Bo Nurkovic, Bo Mato, Bo Khune, Bo Akwe.
Yeah.
But George Maluleke was the star of the show. And when they removed him, using financial muscle. Yeah, that part just left a bitter taste in my mouth. What he did at Supersport was also beautiful in terms of turning them, or rather starting a debate as to whether they are the Cup Kings or Chiefs are the Cup Kings. Because I remember they used to go back-to-back quarterfinal. You knew if there's a final, there's Supersport United, and which is why the national team took him. So for my number 3, could have been number 1 if he didn't have both backdoor Champions League and both George Maluleke situation. But because of that,
Hey, shots fired.
he's number 3.
Hey, I don't know, Agent Double. I don't know if you're catching these shots. If you're catching these shots here, I don't know.
No, I think they're just missing me. I'm just sliding by. Because at the end of the day, whether it's back door, front door, as long as the baby's here, doesn't matter which door you use. As long as the baby's here, doesn't matter.
So tell me who your number 3 is.
And then it means man. Before I go to my number 3, because it's an easy one for me. I don't know if Chiefs it means Chiefs are dumb cops, man. So they couldn't see Pitso's game plan if they could let Maluleke go, because he signed a full contract. They're the one who fired him, We're waiting for him in July, You guys could have played him, So it means you guys are dumb cops, man.
Guys, Pirates and Sundowns are having an argument, and somehow it comes to us that
Anyways, yeah, my number 3 is easy. He could have easily been my number 4. I could have easily swapped him with Paul Doleza. But I think Gavin Hunt, he's my number 3. Not because he's a beautiful daughter. I mean, just based on the trophies that yes. I think what he did, I think I stand to be corrected. Was he the first to win the treble in PSL era?
The treble?
Yeah.
Oh,
in PSL
3 in
era.
a row.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he is the first one.
Yeah, I think
he's the first one. He's the first one.
Yeah. Yeah, in PSL era, yes. I think the Sundowns one. Sundowns one was 98. Was it?
Yeah, it was like 98, 99. Yeah. PSL era is from 96. Yeah. So I think it was Manning Rangers 96, and then 97, 98 was
definitely Sundowns.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think for that, and also he did it not with the big 3, shows a lot, And some would argue perhaps like that, maybe it was because of the three wise men or not, but at the end of the day, he was head coach, so he deserves all the kudos. And also winning the league with vets, I got my stats on top of the head, but besides Chiefs, Pirates, and Sundowns, who have won the league, ever since Supersport did it, finished the treble. So I think he deserves a lot of respect.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's my number three, and obviously having a good daughter helps in the stats.
The thoughts expressed on this show are not those of overthinking football. They are of the panel themselves. Mutare, can you give me a number three?
But yeah, those are the easy ones. But I have to say to Abudu Coach, I think he's very hard on Pitso. But I think Chiefs could have played with Georgia until the end. Maybe I'm wrong, but signing a pre-contract doesn't mean kick me out. Play me until the end, give me my medal, then I go to the next club. I think that's what coaches should have done. But my number three, it's easy and straightforward. It's Kevin Hart.
Okay.
This guy knows how to win, guys. He plays straight football, but he only knows how to win. He knows how to win trophies. And I think at some point people used to say, no, with his super sport, I think he won the leagues because Pitso was there. But that's not. But after he moved from there, he went away to events. He started winning again. He won a trophy. He won the league. That shows you that he knows how to win. And he's one of the most successful coaches. We can say much about the type of football he plays, but the point is he's a very, very good technical coach. He's coaching what he does. And players normally they execute what he wants. We're not going to talk about his standard case, I think, but in general. Even now, last season with Super Sport, we didn't have players. But his coaches that run for the money. Sundowns struggles with him. You look back to events, that will give any team trouble whenever you go to that small stadium event because of Kevin Hart. For me, I rate this guy very high. But me rating him, I'm not saying he should go and coach Kaizer Chiefs. No. He's not the type of coach that can coach Kaizer Chiefs.
Yeah.
But he's the type of coach that can take any small team. Let's not forget the Black Leopards era where he went to Black Leopards. They were training a Bukwini with no kids, with nothing. But he changed that mentality of that kept the Black Leopards team. The Black Leopards started winning. So for me, I really, 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 truly hate Kevin Hart very high.
Okay. No, I hear you. Richie, we're in the hot seats now. Who's your top three? Who's your three?
No. I think by number three, I'm gonna go with Gordon Egerson.
Okay.
Gordon, when you talk about, I said it before, a seasonal coach. I don't think he's achieved as much as he should have. You understand? But he's I believe in a coach.
Just repeat that last part there because you cut for a little bit.
Oh, sorry. I was saying that I so believe in coaches that can build teams and make teams able to compete. You understand? For an example, I'll make an example of a coach that we have in the PSL at this moment. We have Steve Barker. Steve Barker, I think he's the one that brought Stellies up. Stellies are a team that we know every season they'll be in the PSL. With their money injection coming from, we know who, I'm not going to mention names, we know who is there at the top.
Yeah.
But, with their cash injection, he's made sure that this team stays in the PSL. You understand? Even though there's no trophies, but it's a team that is known that next season, Stellies are going to be in the PSL. And what he did with Moroka Swallows, Cabo Nomvete, Lifatu Tulupa, you know, he brought back the Dube beds, and yeah, we knew that the Dube beds are back now. So I'll give it to Gordon.
Okay. No, I hear you. Yeah, so for me, it's the same. Gordon Iggesund is my number 2 because I think 4 league titles with...
Three.
Oh, three, sorry,
Number
3. Yes, sorry about that. Number 3. Gordon Iggesund is my 3. Because winning those 4 league titles with different teams goes to a personal thing that I have. I have a personal idea about football where I go... Sometimes you need to do well with what you have. So him being able to do it at such a level, granted early on in the PSL, but to have that in the pocket, to have won those trophies, to have brought trophies to different teams, completely different teams, I think that is incredible on his side. If I'm not mistaken, he won the first one for Sundowns. Is he the one who won the first one for Sundowns? In the PSL era. I'll have to just ask agent, but yeah, I really rank him highly for that. Like it's one thing to do it at one club, it's one thing to do it at well-resourced clubs, but to go into different places and do it. The only thing that is a negative and why he's not higher for me is the longevity of it. So he did very well, but then he went into the wilderness, especially after that Bafana stint, still in the wilderness right now. So I can't rank him above the 2 that I'm going to put as my number 1 and number 2 because the longevity afterwards is incredible that those 2 have done. Malume Khutso, top 2.
Mr. OT.
Top 2.
Look, guys. Chiefs could have done a lot of things. I know I'm supposed to give my number 2, but let me just say, Chiefs could have done a lot of things. It's not just playing the player after he had signed a pre-contract. They could have actually just given him a better contract. They could have, I don't know, many other things that they could have done. Exercise an option or whatever. But my gripe is with signing a player not to play him. You see, in law, there's this thing that if you know Wuti, Malume Khutso is not balanced in the head, and you give him a gun and you say, OT slept with your girlfriend, you can be charged with murder because you knew what you were doing. Let's forget that Malume Khutso is the one who pressed the gun, but you knew when you gave OT that gun what you intended to do. So they knew the culture at Chiefs where they will never play a player that has signed a pre-contract. So this thing of saying Chiefs could have played a player, Sundowns cheated. They won that. They bought that league. And the price of that league was with Josh Maluleke. But it's fine. My number 2 goes to Gavin Hunt.
Okay.
See, he has a clear identity and he does not fall into the trap of wanting to do these fancy things, these things that are pleasing to the eye. And his philosophy is not only on the field, it's also somewhat off the field. You can see how he identifies players and how he does away with players once they reach a certain stage in their career, whether they become too popular or something, he sort of takes them away.
Yeah.
You understand? My views on him, however, have become dim. Like I keep saying, what you said yesterday, the fact that he could not cope at Chiefs because of the interference makes me think, man, this issue of interference, man, we should look at it differently. Some coaches are able to function through the interference, but I'll give him the number 2 spot. And also, maybe he's just a small team coach.
Yeah.
Just like how we're saying, no, Rulani is doing well with Sundowns. Maybe he is the opposite of Rulani.
Exactly.
With Sundowns, he wouldn't be able to do it. And therefore, his Sundowns is these small teams. You understand? So for now, I think the number 2 position is suited because also winning the league back to back with SuperSport. Yeah, I can say the small team thingy, but that's commendable. So I'll give it to him.
Okay. And I think that goes back a conversation I had where there's tiers of coaches for me. And some coaches do very well with middle teams. Some coaches do very well with star teams. Most of the time, it doesn't work in reverse. Like if you ask Pitso, Pitso's a different animal. If you ask Kurulani to coach TS Galaxy, I'm not saying it is, but he seems like a superstar coach. Pep Guardiola coaching Everton wouldn't work out. Whereas,
and that takes a specific type of character to be able to control superstars and be like,
exactly.
these small ones, I can't.
Yeah.
I need superstars in my team, and I can actually channel them.
And it's not a knock. I think people think it's a knock. It's just you're strong at that.
Precisely. So for me, I'm giving it to him. There's a point on him that I want. Also, what also speaks to his ability to coach small teams. This guy struggles at Chiefs. And he somewhat quits before he even quits or before he even gets fired. You can see the resignation in his face already. Walks into Super Sport. Suddenly, he's fighting for Champions League spot.
Yeah.
Clearly, that's his forte, small teams.
Okay, no. Isn't 007? Who's the number 2?
Yeah, I think before I go to my number 2, excuse me, I think I would beg to differ with Abuti, I think, and not just Abuti, I think many fans,
Okay.
And I think I've said this many times. Hunt is not my gravy, it's not my meal, but I want to think he did well at Chiefs, especially for me, he's the one who took Chiefs to the same finals of CAF, and that's like in the final. But look at, if you want to see how difficult that is, look at Sundowns. How many times they've been trying, Forget the Mokoena, Rulani Mokoena, Mangoba, and Steve. Even under Pitso, how many times they do the same finals, And with that, with abundance of resources, players, and everything, we're still struggling to reach that same final mark, and and Chiefs was under transfer ban, if I recall well, So I think he did extremely well at Chiefs. Yeah, like he's saying now, some teams went to Netherlands, some went to Spain, but then they went to Romania. So my next one is obvious. I think the difference between him and my number 1 is just the system.
Okay.
It's just that the old saying, the student can never be greater than the master. That's why he's precisely my number 2, to be honest. But like you once said, May is too far. May is just too far. You don't have to be Chiefs to win the league. And Pitso Mosimane, I think what he did at Sundowns team, Bafana. I think Bafana's team was relatively well. Just okay, not well, but okay. And impressively for my team, he built a solid base, we have had coaches who came from Barcelona, from all the way.
Wow, Stoichkov.
So him being the son of the soil, he was able to rebuild Sundowns. I think what Sundowns had, or what Sundowns going through before Pitso, is what Chiefs is going through now. Hence, I was, as a fan, not just Sundowns, but as a fan, I would have loved Chiefs to get someone like Nabi, or someone who's going to build a system, build a foundation, and then he can go and the system, the foundation will still remain. But as a Sundowns fan, I'm happy that you guys bought the tiki football. Topic for another day. So I'm impressed with Pitso, and winning the star, like I said, it's immaterial. Like someone said, how and when the ball gets scored, I don't care about the technicalities. I'll leave those to the uncles, and grandfathers with other grandkids and nephews. But the bottom line is, he won a star,
Okay.
So he deserves a lot of respect for that, so yeah.
Okay, number 2, Pitso Butlari. Who's your number 2?
Yeah, he's straightforward. Now it's not even hot. It's just simple.
Yeah.
But I just want to firstly say, I think just to answer a question that was raised by Photo Agent, Aput Pucho. Kevin Hunt, he's just a winner. He knows how to win. Hence, he can take Chiefs to the semi-final because he knows how to win. And as Abudu Pucho said, he's not influenced by today's football. For me, I look at him the way he's a manager. We always say we need managers in South Africa. He's a manager. He reminds me of Manchester United coach, the greatest coach in Manchester, Sir Alex Ferguson.
Alex Ferguson, yeah.
Took Ronaldo in. When Ronaldo started to be a superstar, he sold him. That's what Kevin Hunt does. And he even said it himself. He says, I don't want to keep a player too long. And the problem, and even said the problem with Kaizer is then they want to keep players for too long. They don't recycle players. He believes that I can have a superstar. 2 years down the line, I sell you for better money to get enough money and get 3 more players. So for me, he's a very, 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 very good manager. Even though his type of football is not the one that I love. But guys, kudos to him.
Okay.
As I said, I really rate him. But my number 2, guys, between 2 and 1, the only difference is being an elder and a child. That's it. But my number 2, guys, this guy is always crying whenever he loses because he's very much invested in the game of football. And guys, this guy is a beast. I think modern football and modern game, he understands the modern football. He understands how to move in between today's games. For me, I feel like if maybe he was the coach that he was during early PSL, the 1996 era, he will easily be number 1. But Coach Pitso, guys.
Okay.
Coach Pitso, no. You look at his team when he was with the Thomas Madikhahe. That was a killer team. And Tiko Modise was, I will say Tiko Modise was slightly going to his prime, but he managed that team. And also, one thing I love about Coach Pitso, he's also a good manager. He doesn't just coach in pitch. He manages you off the field. He's that coach that he needs to know what you're doing at what time, what are you eating. So for me, I highly, highly, highly rate him. And given what he has done with Sundowns, guys, not so many South African coaches could do that. He's brave, take his decisions, he knows what he's doing, and the hard work he puts in the game. For me, big up to him. He's number 2.
Okay, I hear you. Richie, who's your number 2?
Yeah. I think now it's an issue of us who just the order of who's the number 1 to number 3. Otherwise, we all have coaches in our heads. But my number two is Kevin.
Okay.
I'm not going to talk about Super Sport because we all know what he did at Super Sport. But I'm going to talk about what he did at Bidvest and what he did at Chiefs. I'm not sure which final it was between Wits and Sundowns. If you can just remind me, was it Telkom or MTN 8? Where Bidvest Telkom, where Wits outplayed Sundowns. And then you saw Abo Xolamlambo, Sfiso Hlanti, Benzama Shushaini, embarrassing Sundowns in that game. And he went on to win the league with a Bidvest Wits, a team that was just a regular in the PSL, but a team that became a force to be reckoned with. You understand? He made that team. Yes, I'm thinking of Abo Dane Clayton, Abo Eleazar Rogers. Players that you wouldn't think are at a high level. Eleazar Rogers played in Cape Town most of his career, went to Sundowns, messed up his career, went to went to Gavin Pitso. He revived him.
Yeah.
He revived him. He brought out the best out of that guy. We never knew there was a Kolamlambo, or let me say me personally, I never knew there was a Kolamlambo until he was at Pitso. And then he came to Chiefs with our issues. He took us to the Champions League semi-final. You must remember our previous coach, we cried about him playing aeroplane football, but that coach won games. We lost on the final day, but he won games. Yeah, and then this coach came in. We still didn't have the players that we wanted, but he took us to a Champions League semi-final. I mean, we beat Simba. We beat Simba. You understand? And we struggled at home, but we excelled in the Champions League. Yeah, but we came in and we put our name on top again. Yeah, I understand. And I think the only thing that made us lose that Champions League final is the red card of Happy Mashiach. Otherwise, we were going to compete in that game. So Kevin Hunt, for me, he's proven himself over and over. Like who Aboti Kucho was saying, he got to SuperSport. What is he doing now? Look at SuperSport. You understand? He fought for the Champions League. I mean, the guy's resume is probably, after the coach, that's my number one. He's second best. So yeah, that's my number two.
Okay. I also have Kevin Hunt at my number 2 spot, but my reasons are a little bit different. I think, well, not a little bit. It's similar, but a little bit different. For me, besides him winning the league 4 times with SuperSport and Wits, unfancy to do those things, winning the trophies that he's won, I think Kevin Hunt, he reminds me of a lot of Kasi coaches, tracksuit coaches, what I like to call tracksuit coaches, guys that you look at and maybe they don't have the iPads and the suits and the scarves and the what, but he understands football. Like he understands, over and above understanding football, he understands the team that he has. I think a lot of the time in football, we struggle and coaches struggle because I want to play tiki-taka, Spanish tiki-taka. I want to do 3-4, 1-2. I want to have inverted left backs and do this and do that. But when you look at their team, realistically, that's not what you can do with it. And where a lot of coaches in the world would turn around and go, yeah, what can I do? Because I don't have this and I don't have this player and I really wanted that player. And what about, right? And they make all these excuses. Gavin and them, fine, he might fight and do whatever, but he sits back and he goes, okay, what can I do to win with this team? And I love that he represents that, right? In a time when people would be clamoring and fighting to try coach Sundowns, fighting to try coach Chiefs, fighting to try coach Pirates. There he goes to SuperSport and he wins 3 leagues. Over and above the Manning Rangers things from back in the day, I don't want to speak about those things, but he goes and wins the league. He goes to Bidvest, wins the league. If not for Bidvest being disbanded, who knows what he would have done? Maybe he could have won 2 more leagues. We don't know, right? Goes to Chiefs, has his issues, whatever, goes back to SuperSport, does the business. He's third now. He's going into what do you call it? He's going into CAF Confed now with SuperSport, right? Very small team. The only issue with Kevin, for me, is, and the reason why I have him number 2, is the next step. I feel like that's where he struggles. So Chiefs, even to him, I believe it was meant to be the next step. But I think he also realized in that moment that I can't do this. I can't. He spoke about this on I always speak about the interview where he spoke about it on Idiski Talk with Luyolo, where he said, I've gone from managing a team of 5 people to having 15 people looking at me, right? He also went from a situation where he controlled everything, like controls every single thing. I don't think the SuperSport, I don't think Nkulusbia cares what SuperSport is doing when Kevin Hunt is in charge. I don't think Bidvest cared, right? But now you're going into a situation where it's a pressure cooker. It's a pressure cooker. Fans are looking at you. Owners are looking at you. You've got this big ass team. You can't make the changes you want to make. You have to make do with this. And I don't think he left Kaizer Chiefs because he was fired. I think Chiefs and him got to a point where they looked at each other and said, as Chiefs, we're not going to give up control. And as Gavin Hunt, I can't work being micromanaged. So rather, let's just leave it. I believe that's what happened. I think because we're in a transfer ban, when transfers were spoken about, I think they clashed heads and then they both realized that, nah, this is not something we want to do. But I'd love to see him take the next step, man. Take the Confed, take Supersport into the Confed, do things like that, because that is what separates him from my number one. But tracksuit coach, intelligent, knows exactly what he's working with. Omofa Boroto, he'll make you a meal and you'll get full. As South African fans, a lot of the time, and football fans, we know we've got bread and we only have bread and we want sushi. And we'd much rather starve than to make the bread into a sandwich and eat. And Gavin is very good at doing that. Malume Kutso, number one.
Mr. Uti, my number one, I'm sure, it's the only guy I haven't mentioned, so it's clear. I'm giving to Coach Gordon.
Okay.
4 league titles. If we're talking about the most league titles, is it 4 or 5? I'm not sure.
It's
but
4.
If we're talking
about 4. Yeah.
If we talk about most league titles, it's those 3 guys. But in that top 3, he's the only one to do it in different environments. You understand? What do I mean? Sometimes, I'm sure I'm not the only one who, when I think about Bet vs Vets, I sometimes confuse them with Supersport. That's why we hear people say Juga Manja is going back home. Guys, Juga Manja has never played for Supersport. He played for Vets. It's because it's the same environment. It looks like exactly the same team. They stand for the same thing. Sometimes they wear the same brands, the colors. So it's the same thing. But if we're talking about moving from Sundowns to Pirates, that on it's big teams, but that on its own, it's different cultures altogether.
Yeah.
One culture, defense due escotokimaponesa when you are losing. That's Sundowns. I know Sundowns is very violent. The other one, just because you are behind, the fans are already making finger signs to say sub right now. The other one, Extreme Kamuti. The other one, ZCC. You understand? And then you move to your Manning Rangers. There's Bos Santos. Completely different cultures. Even though I've picked up something similar from all the teams, and I'll mention it. And you go to Swallows as well. One mistake we make as footballers, and when we go into history, we look at the trophies won.
Yeah.
We forget, or there are seasons where you did extremely well. You just did not get the trophy. Like that Swallows run, when we took our second treble as Pirates. That Swallows run is an honorable one. And let me, these people are jealous every time, eh?
Every time.
That treble that we took, I'll give him respect for that, even though the makeup of his team. Can I just take this out?
Ansara, I'll come back. Agent 007, you're number one.
Yeah, me and Abuti now. It looks like I'm about to escape also. Luckily I managed to make it. In life, I think there are things which are more important than winning, and trophies, I think this is a classic case, if the Dutch and Barcelona have Mr. Johan Cruyff, we have Teddy Mitchell in SA,
Okay.
I think he was ahead of his time, just like Arsene Wenger was a revolutionary coach, was ahead of his time. I think Ted falls into the same mold, and even if he didn't win anything, I would have still have placed him in my top 5 because of like the system, the football world, the nutrition, everything, like modernized the game, and also he is one coach who understood the South African game, like the flair, everything. Like he managed to incorporate it into his game. Most coaches, struggle with the South African flair. They want to change it, but he was able to incorporate it and make it effective. And for that, I think he is my number one. And excuse me, like I said, and to add cheer on top is winning trophies across the three big teams. That's just adds cheer on top for me. And not just doing it once, but many times. And also his protege, Pitso, also became a great. Sometimes, it's not what you do, it's about what you leave behind, and he left us someone who could carry the mantle forward, and he was able also to handle players, and I think one typical example is in Pitso, when Pitso was struggling to get game time, it's like, what, I can see that you have that thing for football, you have that intelligence, just because there's someone playing ahead of you doesn't mean they're ahead of you in terms of game intelligence, and you saw that. They said, what, start coaching my youth teams, and that's where Pitso was born, So I think for that, I give Ted Mitrom as the goat of coaches,
Okay. No, I hear you. Vutlari, who's your number one?
Yes, but yeah. As guys, for me, I think before I go on, guys, I want to say big up to you, Overthinking, for giving Kevin Hunt his flowers. As I remember one time, that's the funny thing that I'll always remember him for. When Zizo, do you remember Zizo?
Yeah, Uzong.
When Clayt was injured, he took Mazbusane basically from the top, put him first. Mazbusane was getting man of the match after man of the match, but because Mazbusane had big issues, when Clayt came back, he didn't even put him in the top in the 18 back to the stand because he was trying to teach him to be humble. So for me, I really hate the guy very well and big up to him. About sorry to digress, but I guess number one, but we're not there. But for me, I think I will give it to a coach that changed South African football. You see what we see today. What we see in today's football and how it is like, it's exactly what you've seen at Kaizer. With South African play, with everything. This was a complete. You could take all the superstars and put them in one game, but they will gel in together. They will dance on top of the ball if they have to dance. Or tiki moki. All the black. Come on, man. Whether you take him through before the PSL guys, he's still the same thing. I think he brought what we see today in today's modern football, that football is not only about scoring, but it's everything. It's how you play the passing game. For me, that's how I knew Kaizer Chiefs as. And whether he was at Sundowns, wherever he goes, I think he was the best coach that I've ever seen in my life. And honestly, he changed the football landscape in South Africa. I think he was one of the, I beg to be corrected, one of the founders of the Transnet School of Sports.
Or the soccer have to look into it, yeah.
I'm not so sure, but also he had his own soccer academy, Tedimit or something. You look at Pitso Mosimane from his hand, or Kevin Johnson, he speak highly of him, introduce the football that Kevin Johnson knows. Kevin Johnson, if he's given enough time, he'll be like a Teddy Mitro. He knows how to use skillful players. He knows how to use the South African style properly. So for me, coach Teddy Mitro, he's the best that I've ever seen, guys. And I did say that between number one and number two, the only thing is just the other is an elder. The other he's a protege. So that's the only different thing. But otherwise, big up to Teddy Mitro. I wish we can have today's Teddy Mitros. We can have Teddy Mitros today that change the landscape of South African football. He literally changed the landscape of South African football. In my thing, I'll say maybe Coach Rulani will do that if he's
Okay.
humble enough and learn enough and takes time, because he looks like he's a student of the game. He might change the landscape of football. Let's see. But Ted Dimitro, guys, I have a feeling.
Okay, Ted
Hands
Dimitri the
down.
goat. Ted Dimitri the goat. Okay, let me go to
Something
what's
for
happening? Quickly.
yes, sir. I think if there's one person who is not in the top 10, at least my top 10, but he deserves an honorary mention, is Steve the Dog Barker. You know, that's what I wanted to say. Yeah.
Oh,
Thank you, man. See you later.
No stress, no stress.
Yeah.
Do you mean Clive though? I think you meant Clive.
Yep,
Richie.
that's fine.
Yeah, Richie number one. Who's your number one?
Obvious. The goat. For me, it's Pitso Mosimane, my man. I don't even think I need to explain, guys. This guy has revolutionized the football in South Africa. He's taken us from one way we see football to another way that we see it. You understand? He hasn't only proven himself in South Africa, he's proven himself in Egypt, the whole of Africa. He's gone, Saudi Arabia, second division. He took a team from second division to the top division. Then they sacked him. Now he's somewhere else. Pitso Mosimane has overachieved. He's overachieved. Sometimes you hear the Sundowns fans, not the one that just left us here. You hear the Sundowns fans making the comparison between him and Rulani. Guys, he's not on that guy's level. He's not on that guy's level. Pitso he's something else, man. He's something else. But yeah, he's my number one. But furthermore, I want to thank you, man, OT, for giving us a platform like this. You know, it's not easy to get fans to come in on your platform and behave. You understand? And behave. You actually giving us a voice to express the way we feel about the game, you know, with the different topics that you come with. So thank you, man, my man.
No stress.
I personally, I appreciate it. Thanks, man.
No, thank you for joining me, Richie. Malume Kutso, you're back, son. Are you back,
Yeah.
my guy?
Get back.
You were still finishing.
Oh, Richie is touching the bottom of your heart there.
Aye, man.
And you are melting here. I can hear it. You are close to tears, but it's fine.
Good, so.
Man, I said Richie and Butari must declare their age. And they're avoiding it, but it's fine. As an old
27.
Man,
I'm 27.
yeah. I thought you were 22.
I'm a born free.
You feel 27. You are 42.
But in any event, I was still on the Gordon Egerson issue. His lowest moment for me, and it personally hurt me, was how he treated Utulan Serero. At that moment, I was angry at the entire country. That, guys, we've seen this guy. His situation is similar to Munib Joseph, that they were called so many times to come and represent the national team. And every time they went, they were never used. Friendlies, Khanye was number one. There was a campaign of some sort to say Khanye must always play. You know, even in teams, guys, when there's in inverted commas, a useless game, you give your number 2 that game. Khune was playing every game. Useless, important, whether Rajiwa, whether he pumps the ball into the net against Mauritania, it did not matter. He would be there. You understand? So I understood when Munib retired. And when Serrero was looking at flying to SA, and he said, "Coach, I'm feeling something here on my leg for now, and I've got a game against Barcelona, Coach." As a father, I believe, which you should say, my boy, it's okay. We're not going to qualify anyway, whether we win or we lose. Relax, Sarah. Prepare for your Barcelona game. Instead, Coach Gordon comes out after a press conference. I think we had won or something, but we had not qualified. Instead of addressing that issue, that entire press conference was about how Thulani Serrero had faked an injury and he did not want to come and he was not patriotic, and how we felt his impact. And I was like, but you're not using the guy. You know, I checked the stats that Thulani Serrero of how many games he has played for the national team. It's not true. It's not a true reflection. That guy was a sub. Maybe it might be 3 games in a row, but all of those games was coming in couple last 8 minutes, and he was our best player. And that game where he did not come after Coach Gordon held a press conference, he went on to score against Barcelona. So, and I was at race. Yeah, I was at varsity that time. I was at race when that happened, and I was the only one saying, leave Cream de la Cream alone. And when he scored against Barcelona, boy, did I not celebrate in everyone's face that you see what he's doing right now. Yeah, that is what the national team had missed. But what I thought, what I wanted to elaborate on, if you look at all of his teams, including Swallows, Coach Gordon functions welcome at time, not the youngsters. If you look at Santos, Swallows, Sundowns, Pirates, I'm not sure about many. Exactly. You'll see which actually, this is the same team. It's Grootmans who are experienced, who do not need to be told what to do. They already know. And I was told, I heard Unkantla Vilakazi speak on his tenure at Ajax that he's not so great at youngsters. So that's the only thing I would take away from him, and I would say Coach Pitso has over everyone, that he could function at SuperSport, a team that didn't have the biggest budget, and he could function equally well, if not better, at Sundowns, with a team that had a huge budget. So that's what Coach Pitso knocks them out, Kayona, that he can actually function in different environments. But my number 1 goes to Coach Gordon.
My number 1 is actually Pitso. And over and above the fact that, you know, he did with what he did with Sundowns, what he had done with that SuperSport team, as was mentioned earlier, what I enjoy, the thing I love most about Pitso is he's one of the few coaches, as Ukutsu has just said, that could make the jump. And I want to make the jump from relatively medium teams going into a big team and actually making it a big team or surviving under that type of scrutiny. We spoke earlier about how Europeans come in and they just do the job. Pitso came into Sundowns, fine, he was protected and he needed to get things right. But how many coaches have made that jump? Steve jumped to Kaizer Chiefs, didn't work out. Gavin jumped to Kaizer Chiefs, didn't work out. But we know how good Gavin has been there with the SuperSport, with the Pitvest, with all those things. So Pitso made the jump successfully and then won the trophies and did all of that stuff. Over and above that, for me, Pitso represents an ideal. Pitso represents, guys, you can think bigger than the PSL. Like, you can think bigger. Like, you can see bigger and you can go out and go do those things, right? It's the reason why I said, for me, the reason why Gavin is number 2 for me is that Gavin hasn't necessarily made that jump for me. So Pitso saw good, guys, there's a world to conquer. You don't have to live and die in the PSL. right? You don't have to live and die by PSL standards, by winning the league or whatever. He could have easily stayed at Sundowns, I guess, besides the politics behind the scenes. He could have easily stayed at Sundowns for another 15 years and maybe won all of the trophies that they won now. But he was like, no, guys, I want to go out there. I want to take Sundowns and make them an African team. And when we think of Sundowns, we don't even think about the league anymore. You know, that's how good they are. From Pitso leaving it behind and giving them the structure, giving them the attitude, building that Sundowns team. We don't think of them as a PSL team. We don't talk about us winning the league. Maybe this season people are talking about winning leagues, but we don't talk about winning the league off of what that man built. The fact that Sundowns has jumped over in terms of African notoriety or known around the world, they've jumped past Chiefs, they've jumped past Pirates in terms of like now when Ahly, when Wydad Casablanca, when those guys think about South Africa, it's Sundowns, right? He won the Star, something that us Chiefs fans have been asking for a very, very long time. But here he comes and he does it. And yes, there's extenuating situations about resources and things like that. But the fact that a South African coach could do that is why, for me, Pitso is number one on my list. Went from tracksuit coach, went from low resource coach to now coaching wherever he's coaching all across the world. And that was a plan that he implemented within the PSL. And I think if the other teams were to see and watch that, we would see a lot more people. That's why I always question my favorite, Utentens. Why isn't Utentens going to Tanzania? Like, let's go find a job in Tanzania. Let's go find a job somewhere else and go do it there because you're not going to get it here, right? Upito bucked the trend of, local coaches aren't respected. Well, he came in and he did it. So, yeah, guys, I think I'm going to end it there. I've gone over by quite a bit. Thank you so much to my panel for joining me. I really do enjoy having these conversations. Monday to Friday, 12:30 in the afternoon. And then Monday to Wednesday at 8 p.m., I'm over here. If you miss any of the lives, you can head on over to Facebook where they are in full. Please follow if you have not followed. And also follow that Facebook page. I'm literally like 70 people away from getting monetized fully on Facebook. So I really need that. Let's do the predictions tonight. So I'm going to be live tonight for the Sundowns match. I'm just looking at the time and I have a prior commitment. So let's do the predictions tonight. We'll work it out during the first half. I'm going to be live for the Sundowns match tonight, the first game of the season. So thank you guys so much for joining me. Please also support this account, watch the stuff, like the stuff, share the stuff. And yeah, thank you guys so much for joining me. I'll see you guys tonight, 7:30. We have a date to watch the opening.
And big up to you, man. We truly should appreciate you and the work you have done. And one thing which I should say, as Richie said, is you didn't just bring us together as supporters of certain teams, but you brought us together as football fans. Even when we speak about the game, no one is swearing at each other. We're just speaking as fans, not as lovers of clubs, which goes beyond an understanding about a broadcaster or a podcaster, whatever it is. For me, my man, I want to see you succeeding. Hopefully tomorrow, in the near future, we'll see you broadcasting with SABC, my man. Just do something. Open a YouTube channel. Interview certain players. Interview old players. Get us. I mean, you deserve to be in up there with the football podcasters.
Thanks, Maji. Thank you.
Call
thank you
us
so much.
when you have those players. Call us.
Yeah,
We
no,
want
I'm
to
trying to bring them
them
here. I'm going to bring them here. Thanks, guys. Thank you so much, guys. I'll see you guys later. 7:30.
Sure. See you then.
Hey, comments. Wait, let me see some of the comments here. Before I go, let's read one or two of them. Pirates is going to be the team to beat. Warfensek is better than Nabi. Chiefs prematurely fired Hunt. Placing Abuti Kuto replacing Pitso is his second best. I wonder who's his best. Clarity on the issue of Tele joining Chiefs. I don't know anything yet. I'll look for it and then get back to you. Pitso affected African football and Africa's best. He's my GOAT. Can we talk about the upcoming game? Oh, we'll do that as well. I'll find some time. It's just a Friday. I have some pressing things that I need to do. I agree with you. Take time change. Thomas, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Okay, guys, I'll see you at 7:30. We're here. Okay, where do you think Cape Town Spurs will finish? I think Cape Town Spurs will finish 7th. That's what I think. I'll see you guys 7:30, and we'll carry on talking about all of this. Bye.